I, Yaakov Shapiro, was the first one. I was the person who brought the shaila of the human hair sheitlach to Rav Elyashiv the first time he received it over 30 years ago. And then I went to Hindu clergymen. I spoke to many Hindu Pashta people, many clergymen, they call them swamis. And honestly, for the first few weeks, it seemed like it was a problem. They were talking in terms of sacrifices to the gods. The hair is a sacrifice. They didn't say that it's put on a altar or anything like that. Upon further investigation, we realized that we weren't talking about a real avodah. The word sacrifice in Hindu, like in English, means two things. It means korban, and it means mesiras nefesh. When they were talking about sacrifice, upon further drisha v'chakira, we realized that they were talking about a mesiras nefesh, not korban type sacrifice. And in Hindu language, the edge between the two meanings is more blurred than it is in English. And that was a source of a lot of confusion. Many of the swamis that I spoke to pointed me to somebody who they said was the biggest mumcha in Hindu religion in America, Dr. Anand Mohan. He told me, he explained to me the entire process in a way that all the ambiguities and all the steers and all the kashas that we had on what we heard before were answered. Basically, yes, this is a way for the cutting of the hair is not a religious ceremony. The way this works is that the women who, when something bad happens in their life, or maybe something good also, I don't remember, but when some event, some type of event happens in their life, they have to give something of themselves. It doesn't have to be hair. They could give, like a nadova, a gold bangle, I remember he said, a gold bangle. They can give some jewelry, whatever they want. The problem is that many of these women don't have any gold bangles. They're poor. So, but what they do all have is a long head of hair that's worth something. So what they do is they give away their hair. But even when we say give, it's not like in a dova where you give money to a shul that a shul should put up in their tamid. It's not where the money goes that the point is. The point is that they have to, like, it's like a tinus, like to give up something, to be mavater on something, to lose something, kind of like sigufim sort of thing, where they have to just throw away something that's valuable to them, be mavater on it, and that's the ceremony. The hair itself is not holy according to the Hindu religion. In fact, it's tameh according to the Hindu religion, and it's not allowed in the temple. And if I remember right, he said something about them having to go to some purification process, a type of mikveh thing, if I remember right, afterwards because of the tumah. But it's certainly not a korban, and it's certain. And the reason why the barber shops are near the temple is simply because it's more convenient for the temple to collect the hair and to ship it off and sell it. It's a very, very big business, but it's not part of this is not part of the avodah. In Pittsburgh, they told me again that the women can go to any barber shop in the street. Nonetheless, in this particular case of the Hindu religion, where it's relevant to this tanshering process, the professors, the academics, the Hamaynam Hindus, the Galochim Hindus, this Anand Mohan was a ordained Hindu priest. And his wife was one of the people that went to Tirupati and got a haircut, besides being a professor. And it was, even though everybody basically told us the same story. Everybody told us the same story. When we delved into it enough to understand what was going on, there were no discrepancies and no steers anymore. And we were satisfied that it was mutter, looked mutter, but I sent the Shaila upon speaking to Rav Schwab and other Rabbanim. Rav Schwab was then like the Zokin Rabbanim in America, to Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Rav Elyashiv, and Rav Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg. All of them. So Moshe Sternbach, he was the only one of the Rabbanim that, of the Poskim, that still answered. It took about a half year, but the case was closed. I also heard, by the way, from Rabbanim that the reason why they wanted a aser is because they really hold the sheitlach or aser stamazoi and stama pritzus. This way, they'll get the women not to wear sheitlach. There was, 15 years after that, the Dayan Donner brought the Shaila again. He went to India and he came back and told Rav Elyashiv a completely different mitzias than that which we told Rav Elyashiv. And based on the mitzias that Rabbi Donner told him, he asked the sheitlach. He explained what he found as the mitzias, and I knew, and those Rabbanim that were working with me then, or that I was in touch with then, as the information would come in, we knew every drop that was coming in, and we saw things that he said that we had. It was mostly our Havaminas. Anyway, Rav Feivel Cohen goes to Rav Elyashiv then, and he tells him that we know the Metzias is different than the way you paskin, than based on what you paskin now. And when Rav Feivel Cohen got back, he told me that Rav Elyashiv said, and I'm paraphrasing now, look, I'm not the FBI. I didn't go and investigate this. This is what somebody told me. I'm paskening the shaila according to what's presented to me. And if you know the Metzias is different, then you can say it's mutter. And what's the shaila? Somebody goes to Rav Elyashiv. Has a shaila. He says, I need to know the answer now, because if I go home and tell my wife, she'll be very angry. I washed a very choshev fleishige dish with a milchige sponge. Rav Elyashiv asks him the questions, and he says, Osir, you got to throw away the dish. He comes back, his wife gets home, and he's all angry, right? He's all angry. He's all scared. His wife's going to be angry. And he says, he told her the story, and she's smiling. He says, why are you smiling? He says, this sponge you used, it's not a milchige sponge. It's not a fleishige sponge. It's a milchige sponge. So now what? She's being facts. You're saying you could fool Rav Elyashiv? Rav Elyashiv has Ruach HaKodesh. He knows what's going on. How do you say? No, that's mamish what people do. That's what people do. They go to a posek and they tell him one story, and then when you tell him, no, you fooled the posek, they say, what do you mean? He has Ruach HaKodesh. How could you fool him? You didn't fool him. You fooled yourself. You're allowed, if you know the mitzvah.
Nein, das ist die Kreuzfahrt. Die geben das zu der Getschke, zu der Lil, und der sagt, meine lieb hoch, und der weiß, das geht auf Geld, das ist meine Dobe versetzt, das ist klar mit der Dobe. Klar mit der Dobe. Ich muss nicht von der Geloch, nein, das von der Dobe, Mann. Ich habe keine Ahnung, was war hier das Akkord der Will. Nicht du? Kennst du verstehen?
Aber der Mann sagt,
100% das Verkäufe der Will.
Aber es ist gesagt, Verbot stirbt. Gib mein Hof. Das macht mir dann. Gib mein Hof. So wenn man nicht so, und der Mann vernommen zu was ist ein Mensch? Andere sagen also, der Gott, der Leute, People, relationele people, tot bieden, lief voor, hoe ook heeft dat staat. Dat is wat ik goed ben, maar de noemen, ik kom zo, Salaji of people. Een van de tradition is het delen van Salaji of people. Wat is dat Salaji of wat is wat derde, die maakt geen tradition. כמעט כן, אז לא זה שם אחרי שלא תנצ'נם, פועל לכיתלה. אבל כי הדיבור, מה סך לי, אבל זה דיבור. מה כיכן שם המתון הזה? וגם כן, אלנטס, זה דאפו שלוים, אלנטס, דאפו שלוים. לברגע כל אש לא עליין, הוא תותאו לרעין, אלנטס, זה כיתלה בעבר. לפעמים ברזוי, עוד מחתם שלהם, מחתם שלהם, לא כדאות לנו. Wat zijn dieren? Dat zijn veel beter. Dat zijn wel dieren toch? Dan komt je wat er van de ene zegt. Dan komt door het schenken bij dat liever. Een andere zo'n, dat dat tegen jou, dat is goed jou. Je gaat kijken dat is mijn woord. Zo ga ik het tegen mijn woord.
Kan ik niet dat kan nooit wel zeggen.
Wat is? Hoe ook heet?
Dat zit ik hier zie, dat zit ik niet.
En dat is ook te zijn. Geef niet, dat zijn. Geef een hoog.
En dan je mij, en dat is maar ganz zeker, hoe zei die dat? En wil makkelijk zijn, ik weet dat niet dat schrijven. Maar de tweede vrouw, wat was dat kennen dat niet? En de tweede vrouw, als je hoor, mens is, dat mit dem, was ich auch verwenden, macht das Större doch. Ich kann wohl nicht mehr unter diesem Momschamazonen, also Ehre für die Hof.
Schecht op zijn hoofd, dat betekent ook anders meer maken. Schecht zijn hoofd, dat betekent. Het is niet stammen. Schecht een unterschiedliche gebied en schecht is ook een opgegeven.
Ja, die Schieder, die Schieder reden.
Dat is aan de woorden, lost zich schecht niet. Lost zich schecht een stuk hoger dan die.
Ja, die de Bobschen und das.
Dat is een stuk te hoog.
Das ist keine Reden. Maar dan, also, dann lösen
Er wordt gekend dat losscheren in de heen en brengen. Ooit ze nog brengen zo, losscheren in de heen en brengen maar hoog. Nee, dat scheren is er nog ooit uit. Zo we scheren in de heen en brengen artikelen naar einleggen zum Ende. Dat is niet. No scheren doch niet.
Ja, ik kan niet naar de eerste scheren. En geven
Het is een avoide lefono. Ik zeg mijn herr en dat geven dat ook. Als ik zeg naar de heen, ik zeg mijn, als ik ga zien, maar het is nog een gooi. Ik heb gezegd, ohne Schier, noch einmal, mach es in der Hände, nicht gegen Hohen, mach es in der Hände. Bringt da rein Holz in der Linie. Ich finde so gibt es das ist nicht so schießen, er weiß nicht, das Mathe weiß er nicht, aber er weiß, so tut man das.
Dit is dan der
Jetzt ist Schere da, weil jemand ist Schere nicht direkt. Aber das ist was das ist. Aber das ist sicher, bestraft, man nimmt den Menschen auch Tracht wegen der Linie. Amol Doktor Hashem, amol Trachter Hashem, das ist klar, beschreibt meistens die Praxis. Und wenn der sitzt nach weg, legt er einmal die Hand durch. Der Schere nimmt die beide Hände an und legt es da. Das sitzt in einer gewissen Weg, beschreibt er machen. Nicht verstanden, wenn du nicht als Schere mal lacht. Das ist der Weg nach auf 80 und noch, das können wir nicht sagen. Kann ich den Reifen. Aber das ist sicher, legt er Hand so, das ist eine ganz Avoide, die man aufgibt. Und wenn der Schere allein, was kracht, ne? Ich krieg gezogen von dem. Ich krieg doch gezogen von dem Doktor. Aber weiß doch, glaube ich, was sie kommen und was tun. Wenn man so, vielleicht eine Frage, der fragt, wer wollte, aber weiß.
Du kannst nicht sehen. Die Zahlen auch alle, die scheinen nicht.
Er ist sicher ein Fehler von den ganzen...
Wir haben
Der Mispaper bestaat der Mispaper weiß klar, das ist eine Avoide. Und ist allein derselbe Dachten und hat Hanoi gesagt, ich habe los, das meint das, ich habe Hanoi zu sein, das ist stamme, da ist Schere, nicht nach Schere in der Gat, war heilig und der Liebe hat Hanoi. Sagt nicht geschehen, der Mistappe sagt geschehen, die Sachen. Sagt nicht geschehen. Schneidet nur so. Ik vind de sharing was toen deze. De sharing was ook zo. Wat ik zie dat doen. Toen daar deze. Nog is er maar gaan we dus maar worden. Ja, kan ik dat. Aber der weiß, dass das in der Brüder nicht tut.
Ich habe wieder einen zweiten Frau, wo es keiner für die Firma kommen. Doch zwei Fragen.
Zusammen Matone, zusammen weil was liegt, das ist sicher der Scheren allein zu der Heile von der Matone. Nicht verstanden, es gibt auch der Scheren der Heile von der Matone. Das ist der Matone nur. Das ist heute nur und die Schere, die Menschen, die wissen, dass das ist. Das ist kein Wunder, das ist wirklich nicht schmor in Akkoben, dass man sagt, was der Priester nicht nur geht, oder da nicht. Aber es ist nicht sicher, aber eigentlich, was hat er lieb, was hat er von dem? Was hat er von dem? Was hat er Geld? Ich kann nicht quetschen, aber ich weiß auch nicht. Das ist ein Kinderklau an der Einwicklung. Die Ernährung hat mir auch die Schienen zu geben, das soll er wissen, weil ich ich sage, was sie tun. So wissen wir, also mag ich bei den Sören, als die Sören, so ist ein Geld. Wie denn der Sören? Das ist der Schwieger von der Ho ist ein Abrüster. Also in meinem Eindruck, der Schwieger von der Ho ist sicher ein Abrüster. Das ist sicher ein Abrüster, nicht da. Und der Freude, in aller Ho ist nicht was lieber hoch. Da wird es doch immer Chef mit der Ho. Ausgelassen, Chef nach Koben, was er schon gesagt hat, aber nicht, was die was Koben gefällt. Aber nicht so. Dein Mann wird was noch lieber Koben, oder nicht? Das kann nicht mal sein. Es ist ein koste Menschen, es ist ein Mann, oder nicht? Es ist ein Zeit in seiner Liebe.
מישהו, אני שם לפני ליבו, ישימו את זה פח אשפה.
Und wo er in der Zeugung ist, von der Weg, wo geht der Zeugung früher? Das ist auch nicht. Er macht die Zeugung nicht. Ich kann nicht mehr.
Mit meinem Sehen, das ist ein Schiefer Sahor, was ich danke, bekach zu machen von dem. Ich sehe nicht anders hier. Das ist die Goldliche Triller. Das ist ja nicht Schleiber vorne, was da noch gibt. Das ist gemacht geworden, das ist die ganze Dinge gemacht hat. Ja, das Schiefer Sahor. Der Zelle ist eine Rüstkrise von dem, was ist
Ja, auf dem Zürich sind die ganzen Dinge, die Gebühren gehen am Matone, hier haben sie so ein Hebel. Was hat er mit der Fehler?
Das waren sie rein in Hindi, waren sie kommen selber. Daniel war jeder, ein Oni, was er hat nicht was er rein.
Mit Kunde zum Geld, das soll nicht mit mir. Weil du mit Kunde zum Geld, mit Kunde zum Geld, du sollst aber 30 Jahre letzten. Wo du ein Schabien in der Hut. Normal Farben und gemacht euch gesagt.
Was haben wir?
Gemacht gesagt, und da haben wir noch gemacht mit Gewaffen im Mist, weil ich gewinnt habe, Schabi ist so gemacht. Aber was gewinnt denn nicht der Vater zu dir? Das ist klar, dass die gewinnt in Jahre nicht in Geld erwartet zu kriegen. Das ist gut, das ist eine Tatsache. Ich bin auch meist nach Hero. Das kann nicht umgehen. Wir sind immer nach Hause. Wir haben das erkennen. Also das ist ein Mensch,
ich stelle zum Wand. Guckt ihr ja mit Schugen und sagt, was ist denn euch? Was weiß Apostel Mensch in der Gas?
Doch keiner von sich, der andere, was steht bei alles vor ihm, als der Tiglach hat gesagt, neu bei sich, keiner von den Menschen so.
Kein Mensch, eins kommt zu der Sachmädel tun, aus einem langen Haar, und es ist sehr schwer, der lange Haar zu geben. Das ist zu schwer. Kommt der Rock, nimmt er auf ein bisschen. Asach. Nimmt auf noch ein bisschen. Das ist ein bisschen. Das ist sicher nicht nach Noah. Das ist der Schieter. Ich war mal ein Schieter bei der Simonen. Ich war ein Schieter für 2 Jahre. Hat er mir eingeladen. Die Galochimein, die modernen Menschen schämen sich ein bisschen mit die altmodischen Narrigkeiten. Sie sagen richtig. Ich habe gehört mit einem sehr intelligenten Galach in England. Nee, sagt er mit die Tolle in der Nähe. Nee, müssen wir schwierig. Sie schämen sich. Und er ist beklaut. Ich habe ein Buch war. Nein, weil es war, wenn die Buch zu der Nähe. Was können die geben? Nein, ich will gar nicht nehmen. Buch kann ich ja nehmen. Er ist ein Mann, der da geht. Das ist auch was meint er? Was ist das? Ich wenn der Buch zu der Nähe, ich wusste, kann ein Stück Holz gegeben. Ich sage, nein, das Stück Holz, der Mann, der ist da oben, da geht, und ich buch sehen. So wenn die so, das schämen sich ein bisschen, mit die altmodischen Geschäften, die Sort Menschen sagen, was sie noch noch. Richtig? Nein, aber sie sagen, ich glaube, ich euch nicht.
Myself, my name is Svi Weissman. My training is an anthropologist specializing in South Asian studies. I lived in Tamil Nadu, which is the area of South India where this temple is. Been to this temple many times. I was a specialist in Sanskrit studies, and I actually studied some of the textual traditions behind the running of Hindu temples. I actually did my field work in a Hindu temple, and I was there for over 6 years. And I speak Tamil fluently, yes. The Dayan heard again and again the word sacrifice. This is a sacrifice. This is an offering of hair, again and again. And British officers used to go, so they would go to Indian temples. They would ask them, "What are you doing?" The Indians didn't really want to explain to the British exactly what it was they were doing because it was complicated, right? So the Indians wanted to speak to the British in a language they understood. The British knew about sacrifices. That was something the British understood, right? They read the Bible. They knew about sacrifice. So they said, "We're sacrificing our hair." The fact is that in no Indian language is this called sacrificing your hair. Right? The standard, a Tamil pilgrim who goes, when he speaks Tamil, he says, "Morte ardal." He says he is balding himself. I'm tapping myself bald, right? I'm balding myself. If you say, "Muri Gordita," I'm giving my hair. I'm giving my hair as a sacrifice. It's nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. If I said it, they wouldn't understand what I was saying. And if I said, "Morte ardal," they said, "No, that's not," because it's a completely different concept. The fact is that the God in Tirupati, right, receives offerings all day long, sacrifices, so to speak, and offers coconuts, offers camphor. These are all things which would be pleasurable to a human king, right? The camphor is supposed to have a nice smell, and it looks good, and it's offered to God, right? Oils that are applied to his body because that's supposed to feel good, flowers that are put around his neck because they're cooling, food that's supposed to be delicious, all these things. Hair doesn't fit that logic. He doesn't wear the hair, he doesn't eat the hair, he doesn't smell the hair, and he never looks at the hair. Right? It never enters, the hair never enters into the mix.
So, for example, if you want to pass a test or something, or pass a test or business or some kind of, you make a vow, and part of the vow is that you're going to go to Tirupati and you're going to bring some gifts to the temple, and as part of the preparation for this, you offer your hair. Now, I use that word offer, not in a technical sense, right? Not in the sense of making an offering, but that you donate your hair. Okay, you donate your hair, knowing that hair is that the hair is going to be removed from your head, and it's going to be packaged up, and it's going to be sold. This is where the language becomes kind of a problem. So the word in Tamil for that kind of offering, kanika, really means a donation, right? Not an offering as in a sacrifice. So this becomes a donation to the temple, and it's a preparation, right? It's included along with bathing and various other things that you do in preparation for going to the temple in fulfillment of your vow. But you're not actually offering the hair to the god. That would not be an acceptable offering because the hair is ashuddha, it's tame, right? It's an impure hair, barbers, anything in relation to that is completely impure. Really, right? Exactly. It's a kind of hachana, right? And it's like going to the mikvah, and in fact they actually do bathe after you get your haircut. You would actually, both Indian women and Indian men, put a lot of energy into their hair. Meaning to say, they often have very long, lustrous, beautiful hair, and it's also a sacrifice of beauty. It is kind of, part of it is saying, look, I grew my hair, it was so beautiful, I'm giving that up for you. I'm giving up all of that beauty and coming to you as a simple person. I look like everybody else, and if you've ever seen what bald people look like, but this is really also kind of a ritual of humbling. It's kind of a kind of, and for both for men and women, but certainly for women, as a kind of, you're coming to the temple now humbled in this way. Right, a kind of self-abnegation, yeah. So in Rav Dunner's case, Rav Dunner went with a Jew from Bombay, a Marathi. This will be important. A Jew whose first language was Marathi, his second language was English, and his third language was Hindi. Okay, yeah. So that's his third language. The people who he was communicating with, their first language was Tamil, their second language was English, and their third language was Hindi. So now imagine you have two people who are communicating both in their third language, right? And he's communicating about a topic about which he knows absolutely nothing. Exactly. Really, I can't even imagine these conversations. And when I spoke to him on the phone, I had a fascinating conversation with his translator. So I said to him, I said, listen, I said, when I spoke to Rav Dunner kept saying that you said that they were making an offering, they were making a sacrifice. I said, what word did they use in Hindi? Because I do speak some Hindi. So my Hindi is not very good, but I know some. So I said, just rehearse it with me. Tell me what they said. And he spoke to me. And I said, I don't hear any word like sacrifice. Any of them don't say it. And he said, it's not like sacrificing a chicken. I said, I wish I had said that to Rav Dunner. Because that's precisely not the language that they use. And nobody would ever say that it's like sacrificing a chicken. That's like sacrificing it. It's some form of ritual sacrifice. It's not. And something which is used to hold trash, called by the same word, hundi, which means a metal box. So they were at the center. They were at the center where they collect the hair. And so the barbers were shaving off the hair, and they were tying them into bundles, and they were chucking them into stainless steel barrels, into stainless steel, trash cans, essentially. So the guy who was investigating, who was an Israeli guy who spoke like 15 words of Hindi, right? He actually recorded the entire thing. So I heard the entire recording. So I got to hear I got to hear everything. And so he goes and he asks, what's that you're putting it in? And the person says, it's a hundi, right? It's a hundi, which means it is a metal basket, right? Which is exactly what it is. It is a metal basket. And so, but he had heard that there is a famous hundi in Tirupati, inside the inner sanctum of the temple, right next to the image of the deity, is a very fancy, metal box that has on it the image of the goddess of fortune, and it's famous throughout India as being a place that if you give charity there, you will get a blessing from it, right? And so people are very particular that they go into the inner sanctum of the temple and they bring their gifts into the inner sanctum of the temple and they put it in that hundi, right, in that particular box, because that's a very special thing. So he had heard about this hundi. So now, in his mind, right, he now knows, he's thinking that hundi is that, he now thinks that this stainless steel box is now the same as that very famous one in the middle, at the center of the temple. And so he doesn't know the difference. And so he says, "Oh, that's the hundi." And the guy says, "Yes, that's the hundi." Partially because he has no idea what he's talking about, right? Because for him it's a metal box, and he doesn't know that he's talking about the hundi. And he goes on that, and the guy just clearly has no idea what he's talking about. It just keeps going, "Yep, whatever you say, sure, yes." And so he comes to the conclusion that this metal can that they're throwing the hair in, which is the stainless steel can that they're throwing it in.
Okay, if you liked hair, they would be piling the hair in front of him, right? They would bring if it doesn't appear on a silver platter, he doesn't love it. That, if it's a physical material and he likes it, he gets it. He likes musk. He likes perfume. They put perfume on him every day. What they mean is he likes the hair cutting. If you said he likes hair, everybody would know what you were talking about. Nobody would think that he likes hair, especially because no offense, hair is gross. In Hindu terms, hair is kind of a gross thing, and cut off hair is really gross.
Why do they cut? Because their father cut and their grandfather cut. They would be holy the way the Chevra Kadisha would be holy.
You're using these words offering and sacred like they mean something. I offer up gefilte fish Friday night and I call it kadosh. That doesn't make it kadosh.
The offering of the fruits.
Basically, offering, because since I see a life into a murti, I wish to treat him like I eat food. I want to offer food to him also. And when I put clothes for me, I wanted the murti also to have a clothes like me. And I celebrate my birthday. I wanted the murti also to be celebrated in the same way. So like that, the attachment to Murti has become so close. So people wanted to celebrate festivals and events at temples and go and offer food. There is no animal offering anywhere in India. So it is replaced with fruits and vegetables.
The chicken, what would they do with it? If someone brings a chicken, he kills the chicken and bring it to the deity. No.
Say that is, there are some very few still, some people in the villages, some people may still do offering of chicken, offering of goat, like that. So those things are actually an eatable item. Because you go to a hotel, you get a chicken fried rice. Okay, so what happened is it goes back as a food actually.
So how do you explain that so many people bring the hair? If the deity doesn't receive the human or animal, why do they bring the hair?
In Tirumala, they offer hair, is it not? You must have seen. See, that is it is a kind of gesture and gratitude. See, what happened is, in some places, some miracles are happening. So people blindly believe if a miracle can happen to me, I cannot guarantee the same miracle will happen to others. But there are some miracle which happens to few people. So what happened was, the news spread like rumor. So then everybody started following it. If one guy says, we do this, we get this. So there is a rush towards, wanted to, like I used to tell, like quick result they wanted. So blindly, everyone keep following him. If 10 people started off, because it is like a sacrificing ourselves. See, what happened is, why not say sacrifice by cutting their hand? They don't do it.
Why not?
Because by cutting the hair, they do it because the hair will grow again.
That's all.
The hair will grow again. But if I cut my finger or cut my hand, it will not grow. People, okay, so what happens is, what grows back again, they cut and offer. And that is not the real gesture. Okay. It's this kind of gesture, see, that's why I said, in some places, and that is only specific to Tirumala. You will not see the same hair offering in any other temple.
I heard that when you take the fruit, you bring it to the deity on a plate, silver plate, and you wave it the deity.
Yes.
Right? Or
Yeah, it is like a gesture how they offer it.
But do they do
No,
the
they
same
take
thing
it.
with
They
the hair?
take it. No, they don't do because the priest doesn't approves it. See, that's why I said there are certain things which are permitted religiously, certain things which are not religiously permitted, but it is a custom by certain people. They still believe in offering the hair. So they come there. That is why what management decided, okay, you want to do still to satisfy them, they give identify a separate location. They go into that location, offer it there, and then go. And then they'll have a shower and then go to the temple. They don't carry the hair there to the temple because priest does not allow. Priest doesn't allow it. Whereas people, it's like there are certain blind belief.
So do you mean that you want the hair to cut it for the deity, but not to bring it to the deity?
Yes, no, it is not allowed into the deity, but still for their satisfaction, they come to the another dedicated place, do it, cut it, and drop it in the place. They keep some containers,
so
drop it in that.
It to the hundi inside
the
temple. No,
it's not allowed inside.
And you never bring it to the deity on a silver plate. And why?
No.
Why not?
It is because it doesn't have the religious recognition. There are certain things which are permitted religiously, certain things which are not permitted. It is a practice. That's why I said there are certain miracles happen in some place, and everybody believes that. It gets themselves mentally satisfied. Does not have religious recognition. It is religiously. If it is religiously accepted, then it will be accepted in each and every temple. It does not. The same thing is not practiced in other temples.
I heard sometimes that in the Hindi tradition, when someone cuts the hair, he can't touch the food. If the hair touched food, you should throw the food.
When you cut the hair, there is also some kind of what we can say. There are some haphazard thing or some it creates some kind of pollution in the place. So what happens is you have to go and have a shower first. Yeah, purity. It is to do a sanctification process.
So I didn't understand what did the legend said. What did they say in the legend?
Okay, I am also not very good in that particular legend, but I only know some extent.
So we heard something about Naila Devi.
I think you should be able to. You should be able to download from the temple's website.
Okay.
The temple website talks about it. You can download it and see it. It is like for the sake of Donald Trump, on January 6, people went into Capitol. For whose sake? For the sake of Donald Trump. Like that, for his sake, these people go there.
I see.
It is not for their own selfishness. They don't have a self-motive to go and capture the capital. But for the sake of somebody, they do it. That means they are sacrificing their self-esteem.
Do they think...
Sacrificing their self-respect.
Can anybody be the barber?
Yeah, anyone. This is the place where designated place to offer the hair in Tirumala. The hair to be left there or to be placed in a particular place. So they are designated a place, and it is a signboard which says this is a place where you have to leave all your hair. Yeah, no, you see the word is you can call it as a offering or surrendering or generous giving. Generously you give it like that.
And that's a donation?
Not actually donation, because temple don't want donation of hair. But it is offered. See, the donation is something where will be of helpful to others. But this they are trying to sacrifice. They are going to. They are, as the other friend said, they want to forego their beauty by cutting the hair.
The temple auctions of the hair.
That's because they don't know what to do with that. Yeah, people are coming in anyway and dropping huge hair. So what to do? They have to clear it. So what they do is they have found a business route, auctioning it.
So for the devotees, they are offering their hair. It's not like they are giving it. They are offering by self-sacrificing.
Yes. That is why they in English they put it as surrendering.
Are there any other acts that are similar to self-sacrifice?
It is like there are some sufferings people undergo. For example, fasting. So fasting is what? I'm struggling. So why should I fast when I have a stomach? I have to fill up at a gap of 4 hours or 6 hours a day. But I forego. So that is one sacrifice.
Is that self-sacrifice to receive something in return?
Yeah, that is one. Similarly, they do some piercing activity, piercing their body. They want to, again, that is another kind of, it's a suffering. They are willing to suffer for the sake of something.
Like for cleansing themselves from sins?
Yes. So they wanted to, because they are expecting some benefit from the Murti or from the God. So they get themselves injured. Even fasting is an injury to your health. Yes. Stop talking, as they say. Yeah, they pierce their chin, they pierce their body, they hook their body with some. So these are all very dangerous thing, but still people wanted to do that kind of suffering. Want to undergo such suffering for the sake of some benefit. Trying to threaten a person to get the result. It's a definite result I wanted. It is like somebody who comes and just asks me, I have option of giving or not to give. But if I do something that you will have to, the people are forcing the deity or forcing the God to answer their prayer.
They are doing different acts to attach the attention of the deity.
Yeah, you are right.
If everybody can be a barber, can I be a barber?
Anyone? Yes. There is no prescribed rule or guidelines that who can be a barber. Since there are certain regulatory bodies are acting, okay, there are some barber who claims the rights for them. They go and say, it is our job, we will only do it. So what happens is, it does not, the religious guidelines does not, first of all, they don't recognize this. Second thing is, there is no botheration who cuts the hair. But when you go there, a group of people who claims that we have the rights to do it, so we will only do it. And they also say that first they wanted to serve the people. In the name of serving the people, then they claim the rights for them. Because of their whole family do. So if any outsider goes there, they say, no, don't come here. It is our rights.
The United States, when you don't,
yes, you
can go to the barber in the street.
Yes. Okay. They can do it anyway. There's no restriction. There is no religious restriction.
Another question: how do you say in Tamil the word of the tonsering?
Mottai. They say mottai. Mottai means it is complete head shaving.
Do you mean the cut or that I'm bald? Does it mean that I am bald?
No. It is.
Or that I'm cutting.
I'm bald means that complete shaving means that is mottai. If it is for trimming purpose or cutting, then it is called as tiruttam. Mudi, tiruttam. Mudi means hair. Tiruttam means correcting it.
Did you hear of this legend of Naila Devi that gave the hair to the Lord? To the Lord Vishnu?
That is one of the story of what I said, from the kingdom of that place. So she is one of the important character who was behind this whole story.
It's one of the stories.
Yes, it's a part of the story.
It's not in the Puranas.
No, it is not Puranas.
Is it written somewhere?
Yeah, it is there. It is like through word of mouth.
You can say that everybody goes because of this?
No, it is that's why I called it as a blind belief.
I believe that they go there, don't you? And they will get help.
It's an individual's belief. It's not a total belief which is recognized by the ultimate Bible or Vedas. If Vedas or Puranas recognize the saint, then it will be recognized in all the temple now.
Do they have any worship of Nela Devi in Tirumala? Any place to worship her, to bring her things? No.
There's no place.
So it's not a god.
It is not a god because it is one of the public, one of the public, and she has a devotee, and she is also connection with the kingdom of that place. In that.